Imagine this. You're sitting in class, the hum of the fluorescent lights above, the faint scribble of pencils, and then suddenly the intercom crackles to life. A voice announces a lockdown. Your heart pounds in your chest. You know the drill lights off, doors locked, everyone hide. But this time feels different. In today's video, we'll dive into 3 spine-chilling true stories of school lockdowns that took terrifying, unexpected turns. These stories will make you think twice about what's really going on during those tense, silent moments. Our first story takes us to a seemingly ordinary high school in the quiet suburbs of Ohio. It was a day like any other. The sun was shining. Students were shuffling through the hallways between classes, completely oblivious to the terror that was about to unfold. At precisely 10:15 a.m., the piercing shriek of the fire alarm echoed through the building. Now, fire drills were nothing new to these students. They had practiced them countless times before. So, with a mix of annoyance and boredom, they filed out of their classrooms and into the designated hallway the same way they'd done so many times before. But this time, something was different. As the students gathered in the hallway, a chilling announcement boomed through the intercom. This was not a drill. This was a lockdown. A wave of confusion and fear rippled through the crowd. They followed procedure, their teachers swiftly guiding them into classrooms, locking the doors, and ushering them away from windows. The students huddled together in the darkness, their whispers a hushed symphony of fear and confusion. Minutes felt like hours as they waited, trapped in the silence of the locked-down school. The only sounds were the frantic thumping of their hearts and the occasional creak of the old building. Then a sound cut through the silence, a sound that made their blood run cold. It started subtly at first, a gentle scratching sound, barely audible above the murmur of their fear. It seemed to be coming from the door, the only thing separating them from whatever danger lurked outside. The scratching grew louder, more insistent, like claws raking against the wood. Panic seized the students as they huddled closer together, their eyes wide with terror. One brave student, a boy named David, decided to investigate. Armed with nothing but a ruler and a surge of adrenaline, he tiptoed towards the door, his heart pounding in his chest. He pressed his ear against the cold, hard wood, trying to make sense of the sounds on the other side. The scratching stopped. A beat of silence hung heavy in the air, thick with anticipation and dread. Then a different sound sent shivers down David's spine. It was a soft thud, like something sliding under the door. He held his breath, his eyes fixed on the sliver of space beneath the door. Slowly, cautiously, he knelt down and peered underneath. A single sheet of paper lay on the floor, illuminated by the dim light from the hallway. Our next story takes us to a rural elementary school nestled in the rolling hills of Kentucky, a place where innocence and childhood dreams should have been the only things echoing through the halls. But on a stormy afternoon, the peace was shattered, replaced by an eerie silence that would linger long after the storm had passed. It was during recess when the storm hit, a sudden violent downpour that sent the children scurrying inside for shelter. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows and whipping the trees into a frenzy. Thunder clapped overhead, each boom shaking the very foundations of the old schoolhouse. As the storm raged on, the principal made the decision to put the school on lockdown. It was standard procedure during severe weather, a precaution to keep everyone safe until the storm passed. The students were ushered into their classrooms, their teachers working quickly to calm their nerves and distract them from the raging storm outside. But in one classroom, a sense of unease began to creep in, a feeling that something was not quite right. It started with a soft knocking, a rhythmic tapping coming from the back of the classroom. It was faint at first, easily dismissed as the wind playing tricks on them, but it persisted, growing louder, more insistent. The teacher, a kind woman named Mrs. Harper, went to investigate. She checked the windows, making sure they were securely locked, and scanned the room, her eyes searching for the source of the strange sound. But there was nothing there. The knocking continued. The students, their initial amusement fading into anxiety, watched as Mrs. Harper tried to rationalize the sound. But deep down, a primal fear began to take root. This was not the wind, this was something else. Suddenly, a small voice, barely a whisper, seemed to come from the empty space beside the bookshelves. "Let me in," it pleaded. The voice was childlike, innocent, but there was a chilling undertone that sent shivers down their spines. The children gasped, their eyes wide with terror. Mrs. Harper froze, her blood turning to ice. She had heard it too. She couldn't deny it. The knocking grew more urgent, more desperate. "Please!" The voice whispered again, its tone laced with an eerie urgency. "Let me in!" Mrs. Harper, her heart pounding in her chest, slowly approached the spot where the voice seemed to originate. The children watched, their breath caught in their throats as she reached out a trembling hand towards the empty space. But just as her fingers brushed against the air, the lights flickered, plunging the classroom into darkness. The children screamed, their terror echoing through the room. Then, as quickly as it had begun, the knocking stopped. The lights flickered back on, revealing a scene of controlled chaos. The storm outside raged on, but inside the classroom, a different kind of storm was brewing, a storm of fear and uncertainty. No! Chapter 3. The Haunted Wing. Our final story brings us to a sprawling high school in the heart of Texas, a place where legends and ghost stories were whispered among the students, but never truly believed until now. The school had a dark secret, a forgotten wing, sealed off from the rest of the building, its classrooms gathering dust, and its hallways shrouded in an eerie silence. It was a place where whispers of strange occurrences and unexplained phenomena sent chills down the spines of even the most skeptical students. The old wing had been closed off for decades, deemed unsafe after a fire had ravaged a section of the building. But rumors persisted that the fire had been no accident, that it had been started intentionally, fueled by the anger and despair of a student who had met an untimely end within its walls. It was said that his spirit, unable to find peace, still lingered in the abandoned wing, his tormented soul seeking solace in the echoing silence of the empty classrooms. Most students dismissed the stories as mere folklore, nothing more than spooky tales meant to frighten them. But on this day, as the school went into lockdown, those whispers would transform into blood-curdling screams. The lockdown was prompted by a threat, a cryptic message scrawled across a bathroom stall, warning of violence, of chaos, of an evil that would be unleashed within the school walls. Fear gripped the students and faculty alike as the gravity of the situation sank in. The principal, his voice trembling with a mixture of fear and authority, made the announcement over the intercom, his words echoing through the silent hallways. This was not a drill. The students, their hearts pounding in their chests, followed protocol, their movements a blur of fear and adrenaline. Classroom doors were locked, lights were switched off, and students huddled together in the darkness, their whispers a symphony of terror. But in the chaos, a group of friends found themselves trapped in the one place they never wanted to be, the abandoned wing. They had been in the library researching a history project, completely oblivious to the lockdown unfolding around them. When they finally emerged from the library, they were met with an eerie silence. The hallways were deserted, the air thick with tension. As they made their way through the school, their footsteps echoing in the stillness, they stumbled upon a door they had never noticed before. It was slightly ajar, a sliver of darkness beckoning them from within. Curiosity, mixed with a healthy dose of fear, got the better of them. They pushed the door open, stepping inside, and found themselves in a long, dimly lit hallway. The air was thick with the smell of dust and decay, and a strange chill ran down their spines. They had stumbled upon the entrance to the abandoned wing. As they ventured deeper into the abandoned wing, the air grew heavy, pressing down on them like a physical weight. The silence was broken only by the sound of their own breathing and the soft patter of their footsteps on the dusty floor. They passed by classrooms frozen in time, desks overturned, textbooks scattered across the floor, as if the students had vanished in an instant. The walls were adorned with faded posters and peeling paint, a testament to the passage of time and the forgotten memories that haunted this place. Lockdowns are scary enough when they're routine, but when strange and unexplained events happen, they can leave a mark you'll never forget. The scratching at the classroom door, the ghostly plea for help, the shadowy figure in the abandoned wing. These stories remind us that sometimes the most terrifying things are those we can't explain. Which of these stories creeped you out the most? Have you ever experienced anything weird during a school lockdown? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed these tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more terrifying true stories. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.